everyone, how's it going? Wait for you to answer. All right. Doug is currently in the throes of playing the new Destiny 2 expansion, and I figured it would give me a chance to kind of sit down and record a little story time. RuPaul's Drag Con New York City is approaching. It's at the end of the month. It's on September 28th, 29th, and 30th, 2018 at the Javits Center in New York this year. And it was the beginning of the month last year. So a little backstory for those of you who may not know, I am very, very into not only the show RuPaul's Drag Race, but just like drag queens and like queer culture and just like everything in general. Like, not only do I appreciate the art form of drag, it's just, I love the performance of it. I love like everything about it. And when I first discovered Drag Race, I was maybe like in my sophomore year of college, and I was like instantly obsessed. Like, I loved it so much. Like, and not gonna lie, it has helped me a lot. Like, it has pulled me out of some pretty dark spots. Like, drag queens and Overwatch are like my big main forms of therapy that I don't like pay for regularly. When I found out that there was going to be a drag con in New York City last year, I'm like, oh my god, I have to go. Like, I don't care if nobody else will go with me. I decided that I was just gonna go for a day and just see how I liked it. My main thing was I wanted to go to Drag Con to meet Sasha Velour, because if you guys don't know, I designed this tattoo for Sasha when she won. Even if she wouldn't have won, I love her so much. So I drew this and I got it done, and it healed up right before I left for Drag Con. I decided, okay, I'm gonna make a day trip of it. I got my pass for Saturday. I got a bus ticket leaving South Station at 2:15 in the morning on Saturday, which is crazy, but if I took a later bus, it would have just gotten me up there like way later. So my plan was to get to New York City early and like maybe like get breakfast and get my pass. And we get into Port Authority at about, I want to say like 7 in the morning, and I'm like ready to go. I'm like, yeah, let's go fucking do this. It's awesome. And I realize that registration doesn't open until like 8:30. So I'm like just sitting in Port Authority with a can of Rockstar with like the current Destiny like promotion on the side, just like pounding back this Rockstar. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go and get my pass, or at least like sit around in the Javits Center and just like wait. So I get there. I have only been to the Javits Center during New York Comic Con when it's like bustling, like just so full and like insanely crowded, and it was spooky, like straight up spooky to see the Javits Center that empty and like being able to walk around and like actually see everything. It was weird. So I'm sitting around like on my phone, just, you know, just doing stuff, and registration opens up, and I'm like one of the first people in line, of course, because I am a planner. So I go downstairs, I get my badge. Like, the con doesn't open for like another, like, I think like 2 hours, and I'm like, all right, well, I have time to kill. So I'm like sitting on this floor, and I make line friends. That's what you do when you go to conventions and you're waiting in line. You make line friends, or you don't. I mean, like, I just make line friends because I'm like, oh, we're like in a place, I'm in a place surrounded by like like-minded people. I'm going to strike up a conversation. And so I've talked to this guy, and we're like just chit-chatting like back and forth, and we're like name dropping like people that we've seen and like tours that we've seen and like all that shit. And he's like, oh, I like your tattoo. I'm like, oh, hey, thanks, I got it for Sasha. And he's like, oh my god, she's gonna freaking love that. And then I started getting really nervous. I'm like, oh my god, do you really think she'll like it? Like, she's not gonna think I'm like weird for getting it? He's like, no, trust me, I'm pretty sure, trust me, I'm pretty sure she'll like it. And I'm like, great. But, you know, being me, I'm like nervous as fuck. And so, you know, we get along, we're sitting around just chatting, and then, you know, we make our way back up to the lobby. And so, if any of you have ever been to the Javits Center is fucking enormous. Like, it is huge. And they sectioned off like one section. So clever. It's like one little corner of the Javits Center for all of this stuff. And I'm standing there in line, and I see James St. James just walk by me, and I'm like, oh my god, I love you. And he's like, oh my god, I love you too. And I'm just like freaking out, like, oh my god, this is so great. It's like the start of something amazing. And so my plan, like my line friend, I'm an asshole and I forgot his name, I'm so sorry. I told him, I'm like, look, you can go do your own thing. Like, I am not, like, just because we're line friends, like, I don't want to, like, you know, hold you to anything. Like, you can go do whatever you want. But, like, my first thing that I have to do before the lines get huge, I have to go meet Sasha. I have to meet Sasha Velour. I have to show her my tattoo. I have to talk to her. I just need to talk to her. And I am, like, kind of weird because I get very fangirly over things. And I get embarrassingly fangirly over people sometimes, like people who are like really important to me. There are a few drag queens that have been on Drag Race that have like really, I've like really resonated with. The two big ones I feel are Sasha Velour and Max. And I have a story about Max that I will probably tell later. I'm like, okay, so line friend, you can do whatever you want. I just want to go meet Sasha. And he's like, no, I'll come with you. And I'm like, great. So we walk into like the, you know, spot of the convention center that's been like sectioned off. And immediately I see James Mansfield, I see like a booth for like Thorgy Thor, I see the booth for like Bob the Drag Queen. I'm like, oh my god, this is so cool. I am like among my people, this is fantastic. I see the fucking Jeffree Star booth, like bright fucking extra and pink. I get into this line for Sasha Velour and it's already kind of long. And I end up meeting another girl, her name is Andrea, and so we all like hang around and start chatting and stuff, and it's been maybe like 20 minutes and we're all kind of like name dropping places and like talking about things and experiences with queens and all that good stuff. And then we see Sasha just walk out and she is wearing this, she's, you know, bald, and she's wearing this dark eggplant purple velvet dress, and it has like these huge hips that kind of go out, and then it goes down into like this little thing to make kind of like a whoosh kind of silhouette. That's the only way I can describe it, is whoosh. Like, and she has these beautiful like black gloves, and they're like have like pearls on them and stuff, and I am like breathless. Like, she is stunning, and I'm just like, oh my god. Like, my heart is like pounding. I'm like, oh my god, I am actually in the same vicinity as Sasha Velour, and you know, I'm actually gonna be meeting her. This is insane. This is crazy. And so we're standing there in line, and it's me and line friend on my end, my other and Andrea, and we're just standing around chatting, and I'm like freaking out because I'm like, I'm so fucking nervous. Like, I don't know what to do. Like, I'm just like, what do I say? Like, what do I do? Like, oh my god. And so it gets to like the point where we're like kind of like getting up to the front of the line. I'm just like going over in my head what I'm gonna say to Sasha, and how I'm gonna just like bring up the fact that I have this tattoo that I designed for her. I'm like holding like a print, because like we had to like buy like prints or something for her to sign, and like for like a meet and greet, a picture and a signed photo, it was like $30. And I'm like, bitch, yes, work. So, you know, she does her, you know, Sasha like does her thing, and you know, I'm like waiting to get like called forward, and then I get called forward and she smiles at me, and I'm just like and she hugs me, and it was like being engulfed in just like plush wonderfulness. And she smelled like vanilla, which is like a really weird thing for me to add, but she smelled like vanilla, and it was so right. And it was also really cool because we're like, even though I'm pretty sure she was like wearing like flats or something, and I was wearing flats, but we're like about the same height. And normally when I meet drag queens, they are like whoosh, like really like way taller than me because they're wearing like those huge fucking heels. But Sasha was like my height, so I'm like, this is even better. And I told her, I'm like, oh my god, like you are totally giving me like evil queen, like regal realness. And she's like, oh yeah, I was kind of like going for that. And I was like, look, I don't really know how else to bring this up, but yeah. And I just flop out my arm and I show her, and she looks down and she has like a literal like, oh my god moment, and she just pulls me over into a hug, and she's like, I'm getting teary thinking about this. She's like, it's perfect, and you captured the idea of Sasha Velour so perfectly with this, and it's amazing, and I love you. And I'm like, holy shit, this is so great. And so we get a picture taken you know, we get our picture taken, and the photographer, shout out to Kinzie, who is the empowerment photographer, like at empowerment photographer, I'll like link everything down below. She took the pictures and they ended up looking beautiful. And so after that, like Sasha kind of like goes over to the side with me, and she's like signing this picture for me. And so I decided to, you know, to kind of push it a bit further. And I'm like, so the Center for Cartoon Studies. And she looks up at me and her eyes just light up. She's like, yes. And I'm like, I really, really wanted to apply for the Center for Cartoon Studies, like back when I was in college, because it's one of the only places that you can go that offers like a master's in like comics and like comic art and stuff. And, you know, I was kind of like stagnating with like artwork and like trying to like do school stuff, and then I found out, and I told her, I'm like, and then I found out that you went there, and that was like one of the kicks in the, like the big kick in the butt that I needed to like actually like push forward and apply. Spoiler, I didn't end up actually applying because it was way too expensive, but that's beside the point. And she looks up at me and she, you know, finishes like signing the picture. She's like drawn like a little thing on it, and it's amazing. And she looks up at me and she's like, well, that's awesome, but like, regardless, you know, whether or not you apply to that school or any other school, just keep creating artwork because you're amazing and I love you. And I still think about that. I still think about that moment when I get like discouraged, or that I feel like I'm not being productive, or that I'm not like living up to my full potential as like an artist or something, because I'm like, you know what? Just knowing that a total stranger said those words to me, not knowing anything about my work or anything like that, I'm just like, just the fact that like I designed this tattoo and I spoke to her and we had just like this little connection, and it was very, you know, fleeting, and it was just, Sasha Velour is like literally one of the kindest people that I've ever met in my life, and I'm like eternally grateful and so happy that, and like that I got to meet her. Like it literally just was the perfect way to start off that day. And so I get my autograph, I give her a hug again, I thank her, and I go and wait for my friends that I met, and I'm like literally just shaking. Like I am just vibrating because I'm so fucking happy. And like my friend, you know, does her meet and greet, and then we go off and just like walk around. And I'm like, there's like no way this day can get any better. It's so it was perfect. Like the way that the day started was just perfect. I met Fifi O'Hara and talked to her about cosplay, and told her that, and asked if she was going to New York Comic Con, and she's like, well, I don't really know if, you know, they would kind of like do you think like that would be like a thing that people might be into? I'm like, dude, yeah. Oh yeah, obviously, like that would be so cool. Also, not to mention, I don't know if any of you know this, but Fifi O'Hara is tiny. She is so tiny. She's like up to here on me. Like even in heels, she is teensy, and she's very, very sweet. Like she's a very, very kind and very sweet person. I also got to meet Bob the drag queen, which was and Bob was a delight. And at this point, like me and my friends have kind of like separated. Like we're kind of like, oh yeah, if we want to meet up later, we can do that. But if not, like, don't worry about it. Like we have each other on Facebook, like all that good stuff. And I'm waiting in line, and I am specifically going so I can get I mean, I love Bob. Like Bob is like glorious, and I am going also because one of my best friends is like, if you meet Bob, like, you know, tell Bob I say hi or something like that. And I'm like, you know what? It's your birthday coming up. I'm gonna get a picture signed for you. And I go up to meet Bob, and, you know, he's very funny, like very sweet. And he goes to sign the picture, and he's like, who am I making this out to? I'm like, it's actually for my wife. And like, she isn't actually my wife, but like, I just randomly was like, it's for my wife. And he's like, okay, what's your wife's name? Like, oh, it's Muffin. And he's like, he looks up at me and he's like, you know what? I've noticed that like queer people have like the weirdest fucking names for themselves, but like the most normal name for their pets. Like, oh, my name is Violin, and this is my cat Robert. And I'm like, her cat's name is Leo. And Bob's like, hang on a second. And he turns around and pulls the curtains to the side. Luis! Louise is his assistant. He's like, Louise, come here. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm meeting Bob's assistant. Holy shit. And so Louise like comes over and Bob's like, I have some evidence to back up this theory. And he looks over to me and he's like, what's your wife's name? And I go, Muffin. And he's like, and what's your cat's name? And I go, Leo. And he looks over to Louise and he's like, see, this further backs up my theory that queer people have the fucking weirdest names for themselves and the most normal names for their pets. And Louise is like, yeah, but is she gay? And I'm like, just hella queer. And Bob's like, it's on a spectrum, it counts, damn it. And I'm like, oh my God, this is glorious. So, I thank him and I like walk off. 5 minutes later, I'm walking like down this like aisleway and I see Kinzie just like walk right by me. Kinzie is tall, like Phoebe O'Hara is tiny. Kinzie is enormous. She's like, I think 6'5" or something in heels or something. She's tall. Her makeup is flawless. So I'm just like, whoa. And I round this corner and I literally almost run smack dab right into Todrick Hall. I kid you not. I literally almost run right into Todrick Hall. And I'm like, I know you're mobbed right now and I would really, really love to take a picture with you. And he's like, yeah, totally. And I'm like, whoa, holy crap. So we take a picture and he has like, we take two, like one of them, he has like his arm right here, like around my shoulder like this. And he looks at it and he's like, oh, that one kind of looks like I'm choking you. Do you want to take another one? And I'm like, okay. I'm like, dude, thank you so much. You just like made my day. And he's like, oh, hey, no problem. And he like, walks away, like do his thing. And I'm just like, oh, what? And that was bonkers. Just like literally almost running into Todrick Hall. I'm just like, what the fuck? Oh my God. I met Acid Betty. And Acid Betty is also very kind and very sweet and very tall. Very tall. And she had like this installation in her booth because all the queens had like booths and they could like design them like however minimally or to their aesthetic or whatever. She was tired. Like I could kind of tell that she was tired, but she was also very nice. She commented on my skirt. No, her photographer commented on my skirt. And then she was like, oh, come through, mama. Good find on Etsy. Or I told her I found it on Etsy. She's like, good find. And I'm just like, bitch. It was great. It gave me life. And then I like walked around, like did some shopping, and I'm like kind of winding down at this point. I'm like, dude, I I don't know what else that could happen today that could like make this day better. And so I meet up with some friends or some coworkers from work that like, we're up there. We like go and we get dinner, and then we part ways, and I go to this after party. So I get there, I like stand around, I'm like kind of I'm like on the first floor, but like kind of like in the back, because I'm like, I've been standing all day. I need some place to kind of like lean and like, put my stuff down. And so I'm like standing there, I'm like watching the show, and it's great, and like Shangela is an amazing MC and she's a beautiful performer, and I'm like standing there just kind of like, vibing, just like, taking my videos and everything like that. And then I look over and I do like a little double take, because who is standing like 5 feet away from me but Cynthia fucking Lee Fontaine, just as a boy, and just standing in the back, just watching everybody perform. Just being there and being supportive to her sisters. I'm like, that can't be her, can it? And I'm like looking at her and I'm like being creepy, kinda. I'm just like, and she doesn't notice. She's like watching everything else because, and she's like with like some people. And then I'm like, fuck it. And I walk up to her and I tap her on the shoulder. First words out of my mouth, so I'm a fucking idiot. I'm like, Miss Cuckoo? And she's like, hi, sweetheart. And she just hugs me and I'm like, oh my God. And she's like, are you having a good time? Like, are you enjoying the show? Like, are you having like fun, like at Drag Con? And I'm like, yeah. And she's like, are you gonna come see me at my booth tomorrow? And I'm like, actually, no, I'm leaving like tonight. Like, I'm getting on a bus like after the show is over. And she's like, hey, do you want a picture? And I'm like, fuck yeah, I want a picture. And so we we stand there, we're trying to get the lighting right. It's in a nightclub, and she's like, oh, sweetheart, I think we're gonna have to turn the flash on. And I'm like, it's okay, baby. And so we take the picture, and I'm like, thank you so much, you're amazing. And she's like, oh, thank you, honey, I love you. And she like hugs me, and we go back to like doing our thing. She was so nice. Like, if there was ever any doubt, like, Cynthia Lee Fontaine is an absolute angel. Like, she's such a sweetheart. Finished watching the show. I'm like getting kind of tired. And so I walk back to Port Authority, and it's about 11:30 at this point. And I have been traveling, and I have been exposed to like a ton of things, and I'm just like taking it all in. I'm like, oh my god, just like woof, just taking everything in. And I sit on the bus, you know, I pull out my tablet and I put my headphones in, and I'm like, I queue up, like I have like, you know, some like episodes of Drag Race just downloaded already, and I pull up episode 1 of season 8. And keep in mind, I've met Cynthia Lee Fontaine, I have met Bob the Drag Queen, I've met Acid Betty, I've seen like a few people from that season just like walking around me, and it's a really weird, kind of awesome feeling, like watching like a show, having met these people like literally hours before. I don't even know how to explain it, but I'm like sitting there and I just start crying. Like I just start like just tears just streaming down my face just watching this show. And I'm like, this is gonna be one of the biggest like con drops that I've ever experienced. And I allowed myself space for that because like I know I'm gonna need space to recover from this, because this is like, the overall energy of the con was so great, and everybody was so chill and just so welcoming and just so nice and just so kind. And I'm like sitting there on this bus just going back to reality, and I'm just like, oh my god, like whew. And so I get back to Boston, and I think like 5 o'clock in the morning on Sunday, and Doug, being the amazing human that he is, he's like, I'll come and get you. And so he comes to get me. I sit down, and the first words out of his mouth are, hey, how was it? And I go, it was amazing. And I literally just like ugly cried, just like ugly crying in the car, just like telling him everything. Like, you know, I'm like, oh my god, I met Sasha, and she loved my tattoo, and she said that I was amazing, and I ran into Todrick Hall, and he took a picture with me, and I got to meet Bob the Drag Queen. And Doug is like, drag isn't like Doug's thing. Like, he's like, oh, like, you know, it's cool, like whatever, you can like it, I respect it, just not my thing. Which is fine. Like, he's respectful, he understands that I like it, and you know, and he's like listening to me talking about this, and he's just like, he's also like fucking tired. It's like 5 in the morning on a Sunday. He's just like, he's been up like all day playing Destiny, just like, he's like, okay, that's nice. So I'm just like just like emoting everywhere. It was gross. And like the next day, I slept until like noon, and then like I spent the whole day curled up on the couch, just like, I don't want to go back to reality. I don't want to go back to reality. He's like, pat on the head. So that was my story time about Drag Con 2017. And I am so excited to go back this year. I cannot wait. I am actually I'm going for 2 days. I'm going for Friday, and I am going for Saturday, and like leaving Sunday because I can't afford the hotel for like 2 days. But I am going up on Friday morning. I am checking into my hotel. I am going for like, because the con on Friday is like 4 to 8. And I'm going for that, and then I'm going to, I splurged. I got myself some VIP tickets for the after parties both days. And I'm gonna do like the whole thing, the whole shebang on Saturday, and go to the after party then, and then go home. And like, that's like it's like literally been like, Drag Con 2017 was one of the best con experiences of my whole life. And I've been to PAX East, I've been to New York Comic Con, I've been to Anime Boston, I have been to Animazement, and like, it was so good. It was so good, and I like, yeah, it was great. I'm so excited to meet people this year. So that is my story time about Drag Con. there's another story time I have that is about meeting Max from season 7. And like I said, Max is like one of those other queens who I like just vibe with, because she's like very witchy, which I really like. Like, she's very witchy and just very, like, her whole aesthetic is just so pleasing to me. And was very sad when she left season 7, but what can you do? So Max is a very elusive creature, and she doesn't go out very often, or at least we're not around where I am. I randomly see on Facebook that she's gonna be performing at Hot Mess Sundays at Candy Bar on Tremont Street, and I flip my shit. I am like, oh my god, I have to go. I have to meet her. I don't care that it is a Sunday night and I have to work at 8 a.m. the next day. I have to meet Max. I have to. And so I make other line friends who are gorgeous. We ended up hanging out like the whole night. Like, shout out to Alex and Melissa and Days. You guys are fantastic, and you made my night just so much fucking better. Like, I love you guys so much. Like, my friend Jamie got me this backpack that's like pink, and it has like a plastic like window that you can put like pins and stuff in. And I have like all my drag pins and like my Overwatch pins and stuff on it. And so we're just like looking at the pins, like talking. And so we go downstairs and we all hang out and have fun and dance. And we're sitting at like, the way the Candy Bar is like there's like a little lounge right here on the lower level. There's like a ramp going up into another lounge. There's like a little stage like right here. And so like I'm at this little lounge here with Melissa and my friend Nim, and we're just sitting there. And then all of a sudden Max just like walks down the ramp into the crowd, and or like, you know, out and to do things, and I'm just like, oh my god, ooh, like kind of freaking out a little bit. And then I'm like, I'm gonna have to say hi to her like when she comes back. And so like after a while, like Max like just comes back up the ramp, and I sort of do the thing where I'm like, you look beautiful, and I kind of expected her to just be like, oh hey, thanks, and like wave and like walk away, like not like mean or like dismissive, just like I have places to be, you know. So instead of like doing that, she stops and she looks at me and she's like, hey, I recognize you from Instagram. And I'm like, what the fuck? Because like on Instagram, your icons are this big, like they're tiny. And my Instagram picture doesn't look a lot like me. It's like me, but like a filter. And so she comes over and she hugs me. And it's not like a really quick hug. It's like a hug. Like, it's like an embrace. Like, my head is on her shoulder and she's hugging me like really tight. And she hugs my other friends too. Out of the blue, I'm just like, hey, I have swag. And she's like, oh yeah, let me see. So I show her this, which is my necklace that I got from her website. And so I like, you know, show her, and she takes the charm in her hand, she kisses it, and hands it back to me. And she walks away, you know, to do her thing after like saying bye to us. I literally sit down with two of my friends on like either side of me, and I bury my head in my hands and I start just like bawling, just like, and everyone's like, I'm so fucking happy that happened to you. I'm so happy that happened to you. And I'm just like, lots of ugly crying faces. Oh my god. Just dead, deceased body. And so, you know, Neon Calypso and Violencia exclamation point do their thing, like their performance. Then Max does her performance, and it's great. And so we like hang out, like everybody, like, you know, dances and stuff to the end of the night. And then my other friends are like talking to Violencia about just, you know, about things, like another show that they saw her in. And then my friend asked, like, do you think Max is going to do like a little thing like after the show? And Violencia was like, I don't know, but do you guys want to like, come backstage and meet her? And I'm like, yes, of course I do. And by backstage, I mean like the lounge, like near the backstage. And so after the lights go up, they're like, yeah, come back and hang out like in the lounge for a bit. I'm like, are you sure that's okay? Like, everyone's leaving. And they're like, no, don't worry about it. It's fine. So we go back. We're like hanging out like in the lounge or whatever, just like waiting for her to come out. We're all like chit-chatting and, you know, having fun. So Max comes out looking stunning. She, you know, we like introduce ourselves and everything. And she hugs me. And it's different this time because like when we first hugged, we were like kind of like at equal like levels. And this time she hugs me, and she is so tall. Like, I was wearing like 2-inch platforms, and I'm like 5'10" to begin with, so I'm like pretty tall. and she was wearing like 3-inch heels. Her chin was just like on top of my head, just like resting on top of my head, and I'm just like nestled into her, just like hugging her. And she asked me for my name, and I say that it's Mia, and she's like, oh, 3-letter name starting with M. I'm a big fan of those. Oh my god, I'm gonna pee. I'm so excited. We end up like chatting, like me and my friends like chat and get pictures. And we end up chatting for like 15-20 minutes, and she is like the sweetest, like one of the sweetest, like most down-to-earth, just like chill people. And like a lot of people think that she's like, she would be like really like stuck up or whatever, but I'm like, no, like she's really funny. Yeah. I basically went to work the next day running on like maybe 2.5 hours of sleep, but I'm like, I wear these necklaces, like this necklace, I wear this necklace every day, and then I wear this one every day, which is a Maori like fish hook that my dad got me when he went to New Zealand. I wear these every single day. They're like my little talismans, and if I don't wear them, I like freak out. Like I have to wear these necklaces every day. Meeting Max and meeting Sasha Velour were very, very good experiences. So yeah, that was my very, very long story time, and my voice, as you can probably tell, is kind of going. Yeah, that's my story time. I'm probably gonna do like a really cool like Drag Con vlog. Like when I go up there, I'll probably like record it and, you know, take as many pictures as I can and take like little videos, do like a little day recap in my hotel room. I'm so excited. I cannot wait. I still don't know what I'm gonna fucking wear. I don't really care at this point, because at this rate, anything I wear that's comfortable and cute, it'll be fine. Yeah, I am gonna wrap this up. And thank you so much for watching my lovely, long, rambly story time. I hope you enjoyed it, and I love and appreciate those of you who watch my videos so much. Like, I really do. Like, if I can even make just like one person happy and one person smile or one person be like, what the fuck? Like, that's why I keep doing this. All right. Peace out. I will talk to all of you later. Love you. Bye.